Hi, I'm Maria Theoharis or Fellow Sews on social media. Thanks for watching and listening to Sober 50's podcast on Sew Organised Style. Today, Jaire and Mia of Mimiquins update me on the additional new dress form applications they've developed. Mimiquins has been going for over 3 years, but in the last 12 months, there have been a lot of new developments for the community that both Jaire and Mia have come up with. Grab a cuppa and relax with us. Thanks for coming onto the podcast. It's been 12 months and you came on to the podcast when you first started with Yvonne, who's Wheelie Stitcher.
That's right.
And I think the lovely thing about that is your first sort of here we are was not just that you do, what do we call them, mannequins or how do you?
Yeah, that's right. Mimiquins.
Mannequins. You don't just do them for able-bodied people, you do it for all bodies. So you've got the diversity behind the values of what you do.
It didn't feel like such a big step to us because we've always just gone in from the point of thinking we're just going to make mannequins of people, and any person who comes, we use the same technology and we can accommodate them. So we thought, why not? I mean, if we've scanned Haider's dog, then, human beings are fine. They hold still for longer. There's no body shape really that we think we can't tackle.
No. And if we think that it's different and it's challenging, we love a challenge, we will do it no matter what.
Yeah.
Also because of the person on the other side, like having hope. Very often they don't have expectations, but they do have hope. And we do make it very clear, right? Whether it's something new to us or not, but we will always give our best. And that's how actually it's going well. That's why I think it's been successful as well. Yeah. It's not only the product, it's also the service and the whole experience. There is a whole experience around it.
Sorry. Yeah. So this is going to be video and audio. So if anyone hasn't listened to the first podcast, Mia, would you like to just, I mean, it's quite extensive what you do. An intro to what your business does, what you provide people with.
At Mimiquins, basically is a company that Jaire and I founded together. We take 3D body scans of people and then we convert that into a full life-size replica mannequin that you can use for your sewing and dressmaking. We also we do half scales for people who want to do more kind of design-based work rather than adjustments. And we also do arms now. And it just means that these pieces help you to fit your clothes on yourself. You don't need assistance. And especially tricky bits like backs and shoulders, that if you're trying to get your own measurements, you alter that measurement in the taking of it by trying to fit it to yourself. And yeah, we've been doing that for almost 3 years now.
Already.
And we make the mannequins out of sustainable materials. And because of the way we make them, we don't use plastic foams for the core, which means that you can iron on them and they don't deform, but you can also still pin into them and it holds fabric up when you need it.
It basically has it all, everything you could wish for in a made-to-measure mannequin, actually.
Yeah, they won't do the dishes, but
that's the next step for us to develop.
Yeah,
we develop art, so
that's the base. That bit closer to cleaning the house for you, but so far, but yeah.
Okay, Jaire. When Mimiquins was asked to come up with arms rather than bodies, how did you take that and how did you respond to it?
We were very stressed. So we started with home sewers, and our plan was always to cater for home sewers as well as schools, theaters, dance companies, designers, tailors. So there is a whole spectrum there that we wanted to cater for. Obviously, you need to start somewhere. And our obvious place to start was home sewers, which we're going to keep doing and we absolutely love doing. We were getting ready to develop the business a bit farther, as I was like explaining, I wanted to work with designers. We found that, we were almost ready, but then suddenly some of the designers started reaching out to us. And they said, we love what you do. We have clients and models, actresses. There is really like a need for them. So love to work for you with you. However, we do need arms. And that was our next step. And I think since the beginning, every time we have developed something big and successful, it's been done under pressure because there was a need for it. And there was like, just someone asking us, I really need it. This, do you want to do it? Yeah. So we actually said yes. We knew it was possible, just like what we did with the seated mannequins. We knew it was possible. We didn't know how to get there, but we knew we would. Now, there was a time constraint there. And with this kind of clients, and it's a big breakthrough for us. It's a huge milestone. You cannot say no. And, well, you can, but you shouldn't, right?
Yeah, if you know you can do it.
Yeah, you can do it. So we put absolutely everything on hold, and the whole team, because our Mimiquins family is growing, everything was on hold, and everyone was just focused on trying to develop the arms. And it was very painful that we go there. And they're just great. So now we can offer that to the broader public. So anyone that wants them can get them. How we reacted, as I say, it was very stressful, but we do thrive under pressure.
Well, I think we have so much stuff going on in the background and on the back burner, and there's only so many resources that you can devote to product development and things while you're also trying to push your business forward. So it was quite nice in a way to have that little kick in the pants to bring that forward and actually put the time and energy in it that it needed to get it to where it was going to be.
Yes, and this is something that home sewers have been asking for almost 3 years now. And we said, yeah, it's in the pipeline and we want to develop it. It's not ready yet. But then we got that opportunity, and now, everyone can benefit from it, including us, which is great because we always make sure that the way we make the full-scale mannequins without arms have like the beginning of the shoulder, the arm side, all this like is visible. You can touch, where everything is. So you have the beginning of a sleeve. So you don't really, really need to have arms per se because you have the most important bits, which is your torso, your posture, your proportions, the beginning of the arm, all that. However, it is true that if you then have your arms as add-ons, which are fully detachable and very easy to use, that's like the next step. It's like the next level. It is great. We have had very good feedback so far.
Yeah. And we made them say that we can retrofit them to existing clients.
That's right. So we've had a lot of clients reaching out. Oh, we see you make arms now. Yeah. Can you make arms for my existing mannequin? Yes, in most cases, yes. In other cases, maybe they need to come back so we can rescan them because maybe we didn't capture the right position with their arms.
We can do a fair bit.
Yeah.
But, the manipulation of how the soft tissue lies on the bone, it's much better to just get them in the exact posture that they want replicated.
That's right. So yeah, we are very happy with the results so far.
So now Mimiquins is not just the body, but it's the arms as well.
Yes. We also make full-length legs. We've actually had a client who is also a sewing and fashion teacher. And she said, I love this and I want my torso and, part of the legs and crotch line, crotch curve and all this. But I really would love to have legs so that I can teach how to make trousers from different perspective. Yeah. And then she asked, can I have 2 legs separately? Not necessarily attached to the mannequin, but if possible. And we said, yeah, it's possible. She asked for this and we developed it. So whole body. If you want a head, we can make a head as well. Which probably in the future we will, because there's a lot of hat makers and like different fields where they could benefit from it. And we know we can do it.
Yeah, wig design, things like that.
So that's why you described, home sewers theatre designers, and I'm sitting there going, oh, theatre would be quite interesting because you've got all those various characters.
Yeah. More so, what we've heard from people is that if they're working, say you're working in a ballet troupe and you have to get everyone dressed the same, the ballet dancers have a very petite frame. And for most people, you can actually get away with a standard mannequin because they're so unnaturally perfect that the standard mannequin can work for them. What they're having problems with is the male dancers because the male dancers, the physique they have is practically an inverted triangle.
Yeah.
And you cannot get a mannequin that has that shape. They're finding that the shoulders aren't broad enough on a standard male mannequin and the waists aren't petite enough. For them in particular, it's the body shape that they need to
The
replicate.
proportions. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because you're totally right in what you say, but also even female dancers, they might have like,
They're so slender and
They are.
well built.
they are, but
The
also the
proportions.
proportions, like for example, we've had bodies we've made of mannequins that are identical measurements around the bust, waist, hips, even the length, but then the proportions are different. So they look like completely different bodies, for which you do have to make a lot of amendments, alter patterns, and probably the model that suits one of the bodies doesn't suit the other one. And they are identical in measurements, but not in posture or proportions. Also the posture, right? If you are going to make, say, a straight line skirt and your posture is more forward, it's going to be hanging from probably the back and very tight up front, and then looks weird. Whereas the same body with a straight posture, the skirt is going to fit perfectly if you follow the pattern, just alter a couple of things. So even with identical measurements, there are so many factors that come into play that is going to pose a challenge individually.
Especially with flat pattern making.
Exactly.
Because you're taking your measurements, you know those are your measurements.
Yeah.
And every time you're going to the paper, you're measuring, you're marking that line, it's right. It's nothing to do with like the measurement that you've taken being wrong. It's how it's going to sit on the body. And
Yeah, that's right.
It sounds like, you had a list of things that you had in the pipeline. And, in the last 12 months, you've ticked off quite a few things.
Yes, a lot. I don't know how we do it.
what else did we we've ticked off drag queens now.
That's true. That was a cool one.
Yeah.
That was Luke, the winner of the Great British Sewing Bee of the last season. And then they were saying, I really want a mimicking, but I don't know whether I want it with my male body, natural as it is, for like everyday clothes, or whether I want it drag for my performing, because it's absolutely like different. So obviously they have to use prosthetics, corseting, often, and then padding, and that changes a lot. What happens is when they get a mannequin, we know already the standard mannequins are great to see garments from a 3D perspective, but it's nothing like you, so it's still like challenging, right? That's why we created this. It's been very successful. But Luke was saying, if I get my male body, it's going to be great. But then if I want to make drag costumes, it's going to be a nightmare because I still have to not only dress the mannequin with the whole padding and all the accessories, but also when I want to try things on me, I have to try everything on me. And it takes time.
It takes a long time.
It takes a long time to be right.
Exhausting to be changing.
So they said, can you do it? Yes, you came to the right place. Of course we can. So we scanned them with the prosthetics and the corset and everything. And then digitally, we did amend a few things that were going to be very useful for them when they got the mannequin. The funny thing is when we are exhibiting or we are at shows, and when we have had their mannequin, which is a drag one, so it's a male body base, nice
incredibly curvaceous, like a Jean-Paul Gaultier perfume bottle.
Sexy, yeah, exactly that.
Amazing.
Gorgeous, gorgeous. But people don't know. And they do say, wow, what a body. I wish I looked like that. And we're like,
no one will look
no one will look like that.
Here's the background.
We are very proud of that. And Luke was so happy with the results. And it's great because then it opens the path of possibilities for other people in their community, but also for the broader public, because you can see what we can do.
Yeah.
And it works.
They've cut down the sewing time from, 3 evenings to half an hour for certain steps
That's true.
because there's no changing required
Yeah.
between.
And proportionally, for someone that doesn't use prosthetics or anything like that for the garment making, it's even less time.
Yeah.
So it's just great.
So did that experience help with developing Mimiquins for people who have had mastectomies?
We've done a lot of those.
We've already done
Yeah.
a lot.
Okay.
Basically,
Very proudly.
the choices are they can get scanned with or without a prosthetic. So some people let us know at the time so that we can advise them. If they are wearing a prosthetic, it means that if their bust line or the level for the underbust is slightly different,
Yep.
we know that they can level that out by pulling on it. So if it comes out in the scan slightly different, we can correct it because we know that it's not a natural, much like with the drag queen, they are able to put their bust where they wish to have it. So we were able to ensure that the mannequin looked somewhat symmetrical, even though it was put on slightly wonky, because they can just pull that round. And similarly with prosthetics, you can put them where you need them to be. So it allows us to digitally put that little point of perfection in, making sure everything is squared up nicely. And equally for people who have had port surgery, we can either remove the port or put a mark there so that when you're running your hand down the mannequin, much like a belly button, you can feel the divot, but it doesn't show unless you mark it with a pin. And then if they're making necklines or something, they want something covered up.
With mastectomies, we've had a lot of clients with mastectomies, right? And some of them want us to replicate the mannequin as they are scanned. And sometimes it is with only one breast, other times with different sizes, and all the times they ask us to mimic both. Even in very similar cases, their not only needs, but preferences, for whatever reason it is, can be very different. And we are so happy that we can accommodate that because it is a whole journey for them. So why not?
Yeah, especially we've had clients who are like midpoint on surgeries, so they know that they will be even, but on the day that they can attend the scan, for whatever reason, they are not. So we can much in the same way that we would remove bloating if someone had felt very bloated on the day and we can slim it down to their standard measurements, we're able to mimic sides so that they're even.
And with the bloating, it's also very interesting. We have clients that ask, "Oh, I was very bloated that day. Can you remove a bit of my tummy area?" Yes, we can. If you want to, we can. And others are the opposite. "I was bloated that day," or "I wasn't, but I want you to replicate it on the bigger side because that is my challenge and I don't make super tight fitting clothes and it's gonna be very practical and useful for me." The demands and preferences from home sewers are very different to those of designers for their own clients. So home sewers are very often worried about losing weight. What happens if I get my mannequin and I lose a bit of weight? Well, we always say it's a personal decision. You need to be comfortable with that. However, it is true that because your posture and proportions are going to be the same, it doesn't really matter whether you lose or gain a few kilos because it's going to be so useful. Ultimately, it's a tool. And as every tool, you need to learn how to use it. It is your replica, but it will never behave like a human body does with such subtle movements and squishiness. So it is great, it is perfect, but you also need to learn how to use it. Whereas designers, they're very happy with us replicating exactly what we scan or even on the bigger side because they don't mind then tweaking it and, if there is a bit more fabric here and there, like cutting a bit more. So the way they understand the tool and the process is a bit different in how they see it. At the beginning of our journey, I would have thought that designers could have been a bit pickier with how we process things, and home sewers a bit more relaxed. And we find it's the other way around, which is very interesting.
Yeah.
But again, we adapt and we understand their needs, so we know how to accommodate that, and we know how to make them feel comfortable and having a lot of information at hand for them to make an informed decision, so that we can then meet their needs and their wishes. Ultimately, they are the ones deciding what they are getting, and they know it in advance, so they sign it off. We're happy to adapt.
So if someone was interested in getting a Mimiquin, what's the time frame between the time that they contact you and the time that they actually get their body on the desk so they can work on it?
So the time frames is not from when they would contact us, although we try and we'll get back to people as quickly as possible. But it will be from the day that you actually sign off on the design. So the process is you'd go on the website, we go to about 5 locations now regularly throughout the year. And we like to have everything
in the UK.
We like to have everything online so that people can see coming up for the next 12 months where we're going to be. You book yourself on those slots, and then once you get scanned, we will process the scan and aim to get it back to you within about a week.
Wow.
And then that's where the window starts of what alterations do you want done, how quickly you review the files and get back to us, and are there any changes you want to make? Is there any clarification you need? And that takes a little bit of time. But as soon as the file is signed off, that's when it's about 8 to 10 weeks.
That's right. And you will know normally what the time frame is going to be. Sometimes it's a bit less, other times a bit longer. Quality is paramount, and that is one of our core values. Sometimes for an item like this, you need to give us the time for us to just get it top notch. But you will know in advance.
We have fewer available kind of slots that we can fulfill around, major holidays and events like that, because people need time off for Christmas.
They do.
At the moment we are going full pelt across the team, trying to get bodies to people.
Also of note, we are not only in the UK now, so we also scan in other European cities. So we are expanding. More about that will be public soon, but it's already happening in 2025. The other thing is, when you were mentioning about the files, signing off the files. By that we mean once we scan you, it takes us a week or two to process all the files, and we are going to show you your raw scans with what we are proposing as a mannequin, with measurements, shapes, everything very well explained and very visual. And we are always there, available for you to ask any questions or request any amendments. Sometimes you want us to amend something, we do, then you rethink and you say, okay, just leave it as it was. So it's not a problem how much back and forth there is there discussing what you need and what you want. We will achieve that together with you. You're making a decision with our help and expertise.
Yeah, and everything gets sent over as images. So there's no, you can look at it on your phone. There's no need to have a high spec computer or laptop to see anything. It's all quite, we do the processing our end and then send you something that is very easy to look at.
Okay, well that's good. Right. Yeah, it's easy. So you're making the experience of the person who wants their own body, a Mimiquin, a lot easier for them to find out about, assess whether this is what they want, and tweak it with your experience of how many people have you developed these for now?
This year, over 100 or so. Okay. In the last year, and we keep counting, and more.
Should probably count at some point. It got to the point that we set ourselves little milestones. And we thought, we're gonna sell 10, and we're gonna buy ourselves like a mug or something just to have in the office. And by the time we actually we kind of looked at the data and we're like, we've sold like 25. We've got to buy that mug. And
It wasn't a mug. Tell the truth. Let's tell the truth.
okay, I bought myself a little plastic dinosaur.
Yeah, I bought myself a little gremlin. So we have
We
that.
always wanted it, and we'd never been bought it as children. And so there we go. I bought myself.
Yeah, so we have it at the studio next to the laptops to remind us of the first milestone we had 3 years ago, which was as soon as we sell 10. But like 10 is gone.
I know. So we stopped setting ourselves milestones at that point, and we don't kind of number our mannequins with, you know.
Well, we do with goals, but it's like we are meeting those goals and
maybe
showing.
that.
Yeah,
We can buy ourselves another dinosaur.
Any last words for our listeners and our viewers about Mimiquins for 2025 that you want them to remember?
I suppose if people are thinking of getting one, they should go online, find out a bit more about us, and book up before we get very busy.
That's true.
2025 is going to be a bit mental for us.
Yeah, I would say that with technology, software, engineering, our craft, art, the combination of all these fields that we use to make this happen, anything is possible. So don't assume that we're not going to be able to meet your needs or your wishes. Ask, because we've done so many different kinds of mannequins with different needs and different wishes for individual clients. We are very comfortable with knowing that we can help. So just ask.
Yeah. We love having new challenges. We like pushing our boundaries of what we're actually able to achieve. And we find that sometimes even we've had people come for scans and they say, look, you've never seen a body like mine. You know, I hope you can help me. And then with a couple of clicks, we'll be like, well, actually, last week we scanned this person and they have exactly a similar body to you, like the same body shape, the same sewing problems. And if we can help them, we can absolutely help you.
And they go, wow.
Everyone's unique, but no one is as unique as they think they are.
That is true.
Everyone shares so many problems with sewing. And yeah, we love helping people. So if you can come and give us something tricky to do, that would be great.
Well, we love what we do, and that shows. And we know that what we do it right, and we pride ourselves in quality and service, and we really believe in this. And we wouldn't have been able to keep growing and be successful in the last 3 years, given the global market situation, economy, like all this, if we didn't have something that really works and it's innovative, it's high quality, and it's useful.
Thank you for coming onto the podcast for Sober 50 on Soul Organized Style podcast. And, you know, in the last 12 months, you two have achieved so much, and I wish you all the best for 2025.
We will talk in 12 months again, and let's see where we are at.
That'd be great. Okay.
The Maldives, hopefully.
All right.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you too. Bye.
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 This episode of So Organized Style podcast for Sober 50 was video and audio produced by me, Maria Thea Harris, in my sewing room with permission of Jaire and Mia. Sound by bensound.com. If you'd like to support the production of So Organized Style podcast, pop over to Patreon. Make sure you direct message Sandy on Sober 50 to support their challenges and posts. Go back through the podcast archive to hear and see more people from the sewing community. There are over 470 episodes to listen to. I look forward to being with you in your sewing room next time. Stay safe, everyone.